So for your last year, if you wanted the best AI coding experience, you were paying $20 a month for Cursor. It's been the king. But now there's a new competitor in the ring. And yes, it's a VS Code fork, but no, it's not from some random startup. It's from Google, and it's called Antigravity. And right now, during the preview, it is fully 100% free. You get access to their newest models like Gemini 3, full browser orchestration, and an entirely new way to manage code without swiping a credit card. Now usually when Google releases a developer tool, it's either incredible or it gets killed in 6 months. I've been daily driving Antigravity for the past week, digging into the code, and honestly, it's a bit of both. It's on one side one of the most promising pieces of software I've seen this year, and also at times the single most frustrating editor I have ever used. We definitely need to talk about the agent-first workflow, the crazy Gemini 3 benchmarks, and the fact that this might actually just be a zombie version of another editor called Windsurf. Let's get into it. So, first things first, if you peel back the skin, this is VS Code. If you go into the About section, you see the VS Code OSS version, but Google has done a lot of work to hide that. They've renamed the VS Code settings to just editor settings. They've stripped out a lot of familiar Microsoft branding, and interestingly, if you dig into the file search, you might see references to something called Cascade. Now, if you've used the Windsurf editor, you know that Cascade is the name of their AI agent. So it looks like Google might have acquired some tech or some humans, or just forked a build of Windsurf to get this off the ground quickly. It's a little uncanny valley, but the biggest change isn't the code under the hood, it's the 3 surfaces. Google's thesis is that an IDE shouldn't just be a text editor anymore. It needs to be an operating system for agents. So you have the editor, which is where you type, you have the browser, which is a fully controlled Chrome instance, and most importantly, you have the agent manager. This agent manager is the star of the show. It's literally a separate application window that acts as an inbox for your development tasks. The idea here is absolutely brilliant. Instead of having your AI chat squeezed into a sidebar inside your code, your manager sits outside. It's mission control. You can have 5 different projects running in parallel. You can see which agents are thinking, which ones are waiting for approval, and which ones have failed. It's designed for the ADHD developer brain, where you are bouncing between tasks, and I absolutely love it. Now when you want to dive in, you just hit Command E and it focuses the editor for that specific project. It feels like a futuristic workflow when it works. But we'll get to that bug in a minute. First, I want to show you what the thing can actually do when you give it a real challenge. Antigravity is built around Gemini 3 and Gemini 2.5, and since this is free right now, I decided to push it very hard. I asked it to build a clone of that old Insane Aquarium game, a simulation where you drop food, fish eat it, and they drop coins. I tried the same prompt with other high-end models like Codex High. I spent an hour fighting it couldn't handle the physics, the particles were broken, and it burned through 3.5 million tokens and gave me a broken mess where the fish were 2D sprites floating in a void. Then I gave the exact same prompt to Antigravity with Gemini 3, and it one-shot it. First try. It built a working game using Phaser. But here's the crazy part, it didn't just write the code, it also generated all of the assets. I didn't give it images or fish or coins. The agent realized, hey, I need sprites for this. So it paused, used its internal image generation model, which is nanobanana under the hood, to create the fish, the food, and the background, and then injected them into the game code. Now, were they perfect? Of course not. The first time the fish had white backgrounds instead of transparent ones, so they looked like JPEGs floating around, but I told the agent, yo bro, just fix the transparency, and it went back, regenerated the assets and updated the code. This is that agent first distinction. It's not just a chatbot, it's a worker that has access to tools like an image generator, a file system, or a browser. It felt like I was directing a junior developer who also happened to be a graphic designer. Now the other killer feature here is the browser integration. Google makes Chrome, Google makes Antigravity, so naturally they talk to each other. You can spin up a browser agent to test your work. You tell it, yo, go on localhost and test the game. Now a Chrome window opens with this blue agent control border, and you watch the red dot, which is the AI's cursor, move around, click the fish, drop food, and verify the physics. It even records a video of itself doing it, so you can watch the playback later in the walkthrough artifact. It captures screenshots of errors, so it's just incredibly cool to watch. But, and there is always a but, it's buggy as hell. Half the time I'd get a controls disabled warning even though it was working. Sometimes it would try to connect to the wrong localhost port because it had too many projects open. It's powerful, but it feels a bit like a prototype. And that brings us to the reality of using Antigravity right now. As impressive as the model is, the editor itself got some issues. First off, it's buggy, I said that. I've had buttons just stop working, I've had the sidebar icons vanish until I clicked them blindly, and the Svelte extension, one of the most popular web frameworks out there, just straight up doesn't work. It breaks the entire editor. And then there is the review code button. You see a button that says review changes, so you click it, right? And it instantly closes. It's almost like the editor is trolling you. We joke that you just aren't in the agentic mindset yet. You don't review the code when you want to, you review it when the agent tells you it's ready. So there are also weird missing features, for example arrow keys. In the file explorer, you can't use the arrow keys to move up and down. You have to click. In a code editor, that is a crime. And for the power users, there are no Git work trees. Cursor has this, and it's amazing for switching branches between agents and stuff when you are multitasking. We also have to talk about efficiency. This app is very heavy. I noticed significant battery drain on my MacBook Pro while running this. There is also this fancy glow effect around the UI when the agent is thinking. Yes, it looks cool, but it causes input lag. When I'm typing in the editor while the agent is generating, I can literally feel the delay. And that's the trade-off. You're running a local Chrome instance, a heavy Electron app, and constant streaming connections to Gemini. It eats resources for breakfast. So where does all of that leave us? Google Antigravity is a fascinating, frustrating yet futuristic mess. The Agentic Manager workflow, that inbox for your code, is genuinely a great idea. I hope every other editor copies that. The Gemini 3 model is shockingly good at one-shotting complex tasks and generating assets. And the price? Well, you cannot beat free. Google says the free tier limits reset every 5 hours, and honestly I hit those limits a few times, but for most people it's plenty. You're getting access to state-of-the-art models without a subscription. But would I uninstall Cursor for this? Not today. The bugs, the missing syntax highlighting in some modes, and the broken extensions, it's for me just not stable enough for a deadline. However, this is just the preview. If Google actually commits to this, if they fix the bugs, bring in the full extension support, and keep the Agent Manager workflow, this could be the one. But for now, I recommend you download it still. Use it for your side projects, play with the Aquarium game generator. It's a glimpse into a future where we do less typing and more managing. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments. Are you trusting Google with your code, or are you sticking with VS Code, Cursor, or whatever? See you in the next one.